What's going on, guys? Failed to listen. Welcome back to more of Failed Thoughts. And in this video, it's going to be kind of a follow-up to my Nintendo Switch video where I discussed how I don't really think the power matters as much as people think that it does when it comes to Nintendo home consoles. And there were a lot of people that liked what I said, that did agree with what I said. Some people were, kind of somewhere in the middle. And a lot of the responses that I got from those that seemed to not like what I was saying, or those that were somewhere in the middle, they couldn't really decide. They agreed with some of the things I was saying and some things they didn't agree with. A lot of that stuff seemed to stem from, well, if they had a more powerful console that was at least PS4 or PS4 Pro level, that would make it more competitive and would entice consumers to go out and buy that and entice third parties to put their games on there. I don't think people are listening to what I'm saying in the video. I understand. I realize that video is somewhat long, and like the attention span of most people aren't going to make it all the way through most of the videos that you upload when, they're more than 4 or 5 minutes long. I understand that. So I think the only way that works, the only scenario that works in, is what I said at the start of the current generation, when we seen that the Wii U wasn't going to be doing as well as Nintendo had probably hoped, right? And I said, okay, so what Nintendo needs to do to be competitive again, to at least get some third parties on board with whatever their new console was going to be, I said, wait until Microsoft and Sony announce their next generation consoles. Our generation's over. I don't think at the start of the generation, we didn't really know that this was going to happen. We didn't really get rumors of a more powerful PS4 or a new Xbox until, I want to say, March or April 2015, something like that, maybe a little bit before that. So we really didn't know that this was going to happen and that possibly generations were going to be over. But let's just say, for this video's sake, that generations aren't over. I said Nintendo should wait and release alongside both of those sometime in the same month or in the same week or whatever, and have it be as powerful as at least one of those, right? Do whatever they were going to do, maybe not copy exactly how the competition was going to run their console, but I said something similar. Have something similar, have a traditional controller, and I put out a big rant for that. I don't think that video's on my channel anymore. I think that was probably the old channel, actually. Anyway, the old channel I no longer have, so there's no way to watch that video, but I did say that, and I think that's the only way that scenario works. And I'm not saying it's a bad scenario. I'm not saying what these people were proposing to me was necessarily bad. I agree. If we didn't know for sure if generations were officially over and they were just going to do these, mid-generation upgrades from now on, every 2 or 3 years you get a new one. And Nintendo may do that at some point, like maybe in 2.5, 3 years after 2017. I think they're planning on releasing in maybe March or April or April. I'm not really sure. We don't know for sure. I think the release date is still up in the air as far as I know. So maybe in 2.5, 3 years, there's like a new dock or whatever that's more powerful, and we can go from there. I think, once again, people are probably going to be disappointed, because if there is a Nintendo mid-generation upgrade, it's probably going to be, at that time, PS4 level, at best PS4 Pro level, and Sony and Microsoft would already have more powerful machines at that point. And I apologize for my phone and my Twitter alerts. I really need to do better about, putting that on mute or vibrate or whatever. So I do apologize for that. But that being said, I don't think that scenario works unless they release alongside the competition, because then, so then third parties would be saying, all right, they have a machine that's equal to, or maybe even more powerful than the competition. We can at least try and put some of these third-party titles on the Switch, or whatever it was going to be called when I had it in my head at that time. I think that's the only way something like that works, and I could be wrong. A lot of this is just speculation. A lot of us are just trying to guess things, but I really think when you look at those numbers and it's been this way for a long time. It wasn't always so, right? It wasn't always so. Nintendo had third parties by the balls. Nintendo knew it. The developers, the third-party developers and publishers knew it. They knew it, and they probably didn't like that for the longest time. And, you know, throughout the PS1 and the PS2 generation, Sony had those guys by the balls. Maybe they were a little more lenient. Maybe they were a little more giving on things and were willing to work with developers more so than Nintendo. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs. I wasn't into the industry then as much as I am now. Obviously, I think a lot of us probably feel that way, but I just don't think so. I really, again, I don't think the power matters. Nintendo fans, I'm not saying that every single one of the people that will buy a Switch have no interest in third-party games or third parties releasing games on the console. I think you'll get some third-party exclusives. I think that goes without saying, and maybe some of those will be published by Nintendo where a third party will develop it or whatever. But I just think that third parties realize that those guys aren't going to buy much of anything outside of Nintendo games, Nintendo published games, Nintendo developed games, whatever the case may be. That's my take. That's my follow-up. Just kind of responding to a lot of different comments at once from that video. There was a lot of comments. Like I was getting old channel type of views, old channel number of comments. So I figured a follow-up would be good for that. And we can continue to discuss the Switch. There's a chance that I may get the Switch. I think the perfect price point for that thing is somewhere between $200 and $250. But I think most people in the community probably feel like it's going to be, you know, $300 or $350. We'll wait and see. We don't, I mean, I have, who knows, man? Like I said, a lot of this is just speculation and guessing, but what isn't speculation is that for a couple of generations now, Nintendo fans, while some of them are doing their part in the third-party department, most of them are picking up those must-have Nintendo games. So once again, thank you guys for the continued support. I want to give a shout out to everyone that's ever supported me, just watching the channel, giving me views, commenting, you know, taking the time out of your day to do that stuff. I got a lot of nice gifts on Steam throughout this holiday season, whether it was, you know, in the last week or so, or even, you know, leading up to Christmas and, you know, in between Christmas and Thanksgiving. I've got some really nice gifts. I got a lot of good fans, and I appreciate that. A lot of nice things happening for, you know, the Twitch stream and stuff. So it's been good. You guys have been good. It's all been great. And if I feel the need to respond more, you know, and do another follow-up to this video or the last video, then I will. So keep the comments coming. Keep the interest in Nintendo Switch coming, because Nintendo needs it. Like, they need people to go out and buy this thing. Hopefully they have a decent launch in terms of like the amount of games and quality games that people will want to play. Yeah, man, that's it. I don't want to ramble too long. Thank you guys very much. Take it easy. Peace.